field now where we share joy and we share opportunity for you to gain some hope through all of the journeys that we share from one another. Today, it is my pleasure to have with us from another episode that we did that, oh my gosh, I'm really looking forward to this one around an emotional intelligence. This is Aalia Siddiqui, and she is going to share with us a model today. And she's going to talk to us about how we can use this model in our everyday life. Welcome, Aalia. I appreciate it.
Thank you again. Yeah.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. So as we're here to share hope, you know, we know that emotional intelligence is the foundation of a lot of what we do.
Yep.
And you have developed this unique model. And so during this show, I'd like to explore the elements of that model and how we can then therefore use it for not only personal, but professional.
Sure.
Okay, so tell us about the model.
So it's nothing I created. You'd like to know, it was created 1965, before any of us were around, but it was developed and used a lot in Europe. That is one thing that's, you know, I've been in the emotional intelligence, social intelligence field for, you know, about 8 years now. And I've noticed that US, we're still behind on it as, you know, as far as Europe or Australia may be concerned. They're doing a lot more work around these things. They're teaching this model at workplaces, and people are, you know, really integrating a social emotional intelligence in their daily lives. So the model is called the drama triangle. And of course, it's a triangle. It was developed by Steve Karpman, or somebody Karpman. And it's a triangle, and then it has, you know, that triangle has the 3 points. So each point represents a scripted or programmed role. And he says that we all get into one of these 3 roles at any given time. Sometimes it's within us, internal talk. And as long as we stay in the triangle, our life is just a circular, you know, like a whirlwind, and we're not getting out and into like the healing or, you know, progressive or going forward or upward, nothing. And we're just kind of stuck in there. The 3 points represent the victim, which is the hopeless and helpless thoughts. Then there is the persecutor, which is the, you know, the persecutor is always like, you know, you should be doing this, and why can't you be doing this, and challenging the other person. So you tell me what the third one would be if one is telling the other what to do and the other can't.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute, the third one.
Yeah.
So let's see. If
because
one
it's
is
a
telling,
victim, it needs a
well, it needs a successor. It needs somebody.
right,
somebody.
Rescuer.
Right,
exactly.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So the third role is the rescuer.
Oh, okay.
And that's the fun part, that the rescuer is supposed to be, you know, it's so like, you know, looked up to, or, you know, a role that everybody wants to be. Yeah, I can do it. But it's really not, because what you are doing by providing unnecessary hope, you are enabling the victim to stay in there, and then you're also encouraging the persecutor to, you know, to keep demanding the things because you're there to help.
Wow. So thinking about these 3 roles, and I got to think about that, because you said if we all operate in one of them,
yes,
you know, and the first one, you know, as you started talking, I was like, yeah, I'm guilty of being the enabler, because I'm the one that wants to help. I want to make it happen.
Of course.
You know, I want to give solutions, but you got to let people have their own journeys, right? So you got to allow them to do that. So you have to break that habit.
Right.
Let's talk about how do you get outside of that circle, outside of that triangle, if you're at one of those 3 points. What do you do?
Well, first thing is to recognize that we're in it, right? So there is some language that goes along with these scripted roles. And I'm sure you know that the language of a victim is of shame and just hopeless, helpless, and if you look at any dialogue, then you can pick out that there's a lot of shame. I can't do it. Yeah, I'm not as good at, as good as this as you, or oh, that, even like, little things like that top looks so much better, on you than me, just there's always this shaming. And the persecutor always takes the blaming language. So there's always the blame. You should be doing this. You must be doing this. What do you mean you can't do this? Get up on your feet and, pick yourself up. And they can like border on motivation. They can think that they're motivating the other person, but that's not motivating them. And the rescuer uses the language of justification. So a little example, you do a show and you want people to be on time and you want people to show up. So somebody's late. So the one person, they have choices. If they're in the drama triangle, I got late because there was traffic and there was 285 had construction and 75 had, an accident and whatnot, all of that, right? Because they are shaming and they are justifying, they're blaming the traffic or, the accident and whatnot. The persecutor, if you were to be the persecutor, you should have been on time. And what do you mean you're late? All of that. But then, or, if you know your role, you'd be, it's okay, we'll adjust, it's okay, it happens, we'll put you last or, whatever. Or you will make those justifications for the other person.
Okay, we're going to continue this conversation. I can't wait to come back for the after station break. We'll be right back.
Every story has a hidden element that is not often shared. Hidden Stories, Healed Now, with host Vicki Wright Hamilton, seeks to share the hidden gems in real-life experiences. Our guests are ordinary people sharing their stories of overcoming insurmountable odds while providing hope and inspiration.
Welcome back. I don't know if you saw that first part, but if not, you need to rewind and go back. This triangle is really, really interesting. So when we start talking about these 3 points, and I loved your example. Yes, I do have a show. I want people to be on time. I want people to show up, right? And you want to know, I can hear the persecutor in my mind going, okay, why'd you call on the last day and tell me you couldn't come, right? Or that you weren't going to show up just because I didn't want to, right? Or I didn't feel like it, or I just forgot. How can you just forget, right? So I can hear these voices as you're saying it, and I'm going, oh my gosh, is that me? But if I'm not a persecutor, and I'm not one that's the rescuer that says, oh, it's okay, we'll adjust, we'll make arrangements. And I'm not the other, I'm not the other person, that's always, I can't, it's not me. Where am I? If I'm not in that triangle, where am I? And how do I get out if I don't want to be one of those 3 people?
It's funny, where am I? I'm here. So we all need to get in touch with ourselves to get out of the roles, the triangle. Number 1, emotional intelligence says, what am I feeling right now? Get in touch with yourself. What am I feeling? So you feel, somebody didn't show up on time, or whatever. There's 6 primary emotions: fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy. You tell me, what were you feeling?
Anger.
Exactly. Thank you. Of course, our society is not conducive to emotional intelligence, so you can't tell people unless they are trained also, but you tell yourself, I feel so angry right now, I can rip her out. That's enough for you to acknowledge your own feeling. What's going to come next will be from that energy, from that power, but it won't be in the drama. So, you probably have that, okay, I feel angry, I can rip her up, but that's not what I'm going to do. I would have appreciated if you called me ahead of time, because this really puts me in a bind. same thing, victim or rescuer, like, I can do it. We have to get in touch with, what am I feeling right now? Are you fearful of, the reputation of this person? Are you fearful that, they're going to have a conflict? Whatever the fear is, acknowledge that to yourself. And then from that energy, speak. There's all of these languages of power, right? There's the make me language, which is not powerful. There's the have to power, that takes away the power. So get rid of those, but whatever will come, hopefully, would be, not from that triangle. So first of all, recognize I'm in the drama. I don't want to be. What am I feeling right now? So I'm in this role. I don't want to be. Step out. Acknowledge your feeling, take personal responsibility. If it's you're the one who's late, I'm really sorry I'm late. I did not estimate the time that it takes to get here. Simple.
Wow, yeah, it sounds simple. It sounds simple, but I think, when I think about, these situations that you're speaking of, and that I am at one of these points on the triangle and I am reacting. And it feels like that triangle is a reaction. Mm-hmm. It's one of 3 reactions. But in order to get out of this triangle, you're saying recognize that you're having this feeling of that reaction, mm-hmm. and then respond differently?
Well, whatever response will come, I tell you, this is based on neuroscience. Once you acknowledge what you're feeling, you automatically, calm that sense, and then whatever language will come, I don't want to be geeky here, but the emotions are like in the middle brain.
Right.
Okay. The frontal lobe is what makes the decisions and what is emotionally intelligent and socially intelligent. Once, the emotion is like, like there, it's called the amygdala hijack. So you're hijacked, you're in that reaction, and you're going to say something in that drama triangle, right? Whatever comes out of your mouth is not going to be emotionally intelligent. So the first thing when we do that, this is the emotion I'm feeling, it automatically closes. It automatically kind of calms itself. So they call it name it to tame it. So once you name the emotion itself completes. So then when you talk, it's not a reaction, it's a response.
Wow. Okay. So it's not a reaction, it's a response.
Correct.
So does it work? Well, I guess, even when I think about personal relationships, okay, let's take this, let's really drive this home, right? Uh-huh. We're at home and with whomever we cohabitate with, right? And whoever, whether it's a child, whether it's, a significant other. So something happens, your child does something wrong, and your immediate is to be angry, right? And you want to say, and it might be persecution. It says, you should have been doing mm-hmm. so-and-so. Why weren't you doing this? How do you recognize the emotion without saying it? For example, when that happens, I want to tell that child, you should not have been out there at midnight. Nothing good happens at midnight. But that's persecuting. So how do I go to myself intellectually, internally, and say, okay, if you say that, that's persecuting. That's not what you want to do. And be able to turn it out so that I have released it from the brain and I say the right response.
But first thing is you missed the first step. What are you feeling? When you want to say this to the child, first thing is, Vicki, what are you feeling?
Okay, I'm angry.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm angry. Mm-hmm. I've acknowledged that.
Exactly.
Okay, what you're saying to me is making me angry right now. I haven't mm-hmm. said anything, but it's making me angry.
Yeah, I like that.
So once I recognize that it's anger, then I know that I'm going to be persecuting, that you should have been doing so-and-so.
Right.
Is it okay? And when we're going to go to a station break. When we come back, I want to understand, is it okay to go from I acknowledge anger to actually one of those roles? We're going to take a station break and then see if we have any questions or comments from the audience. We'll be right back.
Every story has a hidden element that is not often shared. Hidden Stories, Healed Now with host Vicki Wright Hamilton, seeks to share the hidden gems in real-life experiences. Our guests are ordinary people sharing their stories of overcoming insurmountable odds while providing hope and inspiration.
Welcome back. Okay, we got to finish that last question. All right. So if my son, did something, and my normal reaction would be persecutory because I would be like, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be out, shouldn't have been out to midnight, blah, blah, blah. But if you said I have to acknowledge my feelings. So he comes in and I acknowledge, I am really mad. I am really, really mad right now. And I don't want to go to that phase of persecuting him. How do I not go there?
See, the step is to acknowledge your emotion, okay? When you say, I am mad, are you? No, I think you're a pretty lady whose name is Vicki. You are not mad. When you say, I am, you become that. So you acknowledge the feeling, I feel angry.
Oh, okay.
I feel so angry right now. I feel fear. I feel disgusted.
So when you acknowledge that
emotion,
so I feel is the beginning word.
Yes.
I feel X.
Blah. Exactly.
And then once I say I feel X, is that when the release happens?
Right. Because, okay, I'll give you an example. Like with little kids, I've tried this. 4-year-old, his mom left him with me and she went to a meeting. Okay? He didn't know she was going to a meeting. So when he wakes up from his nap, where's mommy? Where's mommy? And then he's just like, like running around, where's mommy? I go to him, I hold him like this, and I said, hey, Ryan, I know you are very sad. Can you tell me about it? My mom, whatever, he was saying. I said, yes, I would be sad too if my mom left me without telling me. That's it. That's all I had to say. The little kid, he paused for maybe a second. His tears were right here. Paused for a second. He's like, do you have breakfast?
This is wow.
I tell you, it's the neural behavior. This thing is like so scientific. As soon as you acknowledge, now the child doesn't know, right? I had to acknowledge it for him. Same thing. Another nephew of mine, 6-year-old, picked it back from the school. And having a tantrum in the back seat, throwing his strawberries everywhere. I don't want to, whatever his issue was. Then my sister gives me a ride, so I'm sitting in the front. Who is this? I don't want any of this. So I turned to him, turned around, and I'm just looking at him. And I have this probably a smile on my face. Why are you laughing? What are you laughing about? And I said, I'm not laughing. I'm just happy that you're expressing your anger. And the kid, I tell you, he's just stopped in his tracks. He's like, do you like cars? And I said, yeah, I like cars.
Okay. My grandkids, we're going to have a new relationship now, okay? Me and my grandkids going to have a different kind of conversation. And I got to make sure that my son and daughter-in-law and my other son watch this for their children, okay? Because this is incredible if it works that way because, we always talk about our emotions and feeling them, right? And what that looks like and how we get through it. But to have you say that I can say I feel when it's me, or if it's a child to say, I know you feel you are sad. I know you're experiencing X. I know that this is, and saying to them, and then they stop, is like, I got to try this out, and I'm going to call you and let you know whether my grandkids actually respond to this, okay? I got to try this out, because this would be a miracle for parents, period, right? Because we always react, and I love how you said it. We react, not respond.
Right.
And so, this is just, I really appreciate this tool. and how you shared it with us, but actually giving us the words that, as how we can help say it too in terms of moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have a question or a comment from the audience.
Wow. And I think, going back to what Vicki just talked about, the reaction versus the response. This world, our culture, we are very reactionary. Everything we've been doing over the past 2 years is reactionary. So what I want to know, though, is because we're so reactionary, and that's just the way that we're wired, how can we practice this proactively? Are there any proactive exercises that we can do so we're less reactive and we're ready to really take that pause, acknowledge what we're feeling, and then be prepared to respond? Are there exercises that we can do?
Yes, very good question. What are some exercises? So it's a simple rule. The leading organization on emotional intelligence is called 6 seconds, because the neuroscience has proven that there is a 6-second lapse between our emotion and our frontal lobe, like what the executive thinking section is thinking. So the reaction and the response, there is a lapse, there is a space between that. Most people can't do the 6 seconds because, it's like too much for them, one Mississippi, two, whatever word you're using. So emotionally intelligent people use the 4-second rule. And in 4-second rule, you most of the time, I would say 99.9% of the time, move from that reaction to the response. So when you say, your son walks in midnight, whatever, you should never, that's the reaction. Give yourself at least 4 to 5 seconds. In that 4 to 5 seconds, you're already acknowledging, I'm angry. I'm scared too, because something would have happened to him. As soon as you acknowledge the feelings, you have the response time. And whatever is going to come next is going to come from your frontal lobe, and you'll be amazed.
Okay. All right. I know I have learned a lot from this episode, and I know I'm going to be trying some exercises at home.
Yes.
So, hey, family, get ready because it's coming. Can you all join me in thanking my guests today?
Thank you.
I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate all the wisdom and knowledge and tools that you are providing to our audience. Thank you so much for joining in to another episode of Hidden Stories Healed Now. That when we let the hidden stories out, we set ourselves free. See you on the next episode.